Da 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 dum. Hello and welcome to a live show for us. Did you come? Is Anthony Evans, brother 3D animator and joint owner of our cartoon studio. Tonight we are happy to have joining us once again Mr. Dave Werner, who I'm sure you all know from his OK Samurai YouTube channel, which is an absolute must watch for anyone who wants to learn or uses Adobe Character Animator. Or Adobe. Not only does he provide all the tutorials to help you become an expert in the software, but he also keeps us up to date with everything that is happening in the community. Dave was our very first guest right back at the start of 2017 when we began this live show, and back then Character Animator still felt quite new at that point. In fact, it was still in beta. But a whole year later, and it feels like the software is really racing ahead and getting loads of much deserved attention, and rightly so. We've asked Dave to come back and chat with us about what's been happening since we last spoke. So, Anthony, do you want to run the credits or the intro or whatever you're going to do and bring Dave on? Bring him on.
I can do indeed.
Hey, this is Dave from the Adobe Character Animator team, and welcome to the May 2018 episode of Tips and Tricks.
It's not tips and tricks. Through that back.
Oh, that was a smooth intro. Hello.
Oh, hey guys.
Hey.
Yep, it worked. That's bonus. Right, Dave, thanks again for joining us tonight. It seems that you've been having a really super busy time since the last time you joined us in the studio.
Yeah, things have been very busy. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be back.
Oh, it's great to have you here. Well, I think we'll jump straight into it. We've got a whole bunch of questions lined up, and also anybody watching, if you're watching us right now or you join us right now, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in our YouTube channel, and we will do our best to read those questions and ask Dave as soon as we get a chance. Right, so with my own questions first, what do you think have been some big changes that Character Animator has gone through over the last year?
Yeah, I mean, a lot has happened in the past year, I would say. There's, you think fall of last year is when we came out with our 1.0 release. And it's hard to believe, but that's when we completely redid the whole trigger system. Had the new, the triggers panel as opposed to the little small property that was hard to find for each each layer in the right. And so, we knew that was a foundational step that we had to take, and that was also the release of the controls panel, the visual controls panel that I think has been a huge addition as well, MIDI support, all of that stuff. And so when I think about the biggest change, I would probably say kind of what we've done with triggers. I think that honestly has been one of the bigger major structural and functional changes that we've done. But there've been a ton of small things here and there. A lot of small UI improvements that I've been happy to see. Things getting a little bit nicer or easier. A recording countdown, for example, like that's something that we wanted to do for a really long time, and it was always kind of bottom of the priority list. But we decided this needs to be done. This is going to lead to better performances, and it seems like it has been. So, and then I also think just continuing to see more and more people in the industry using it. So obviously our cartoon president has been our biggest success story over the past year. A full broadcast television show using Character Animator to drive it is just really, really cool and really awesome to see them be able to use it to create, what most consider a traditional animated broadcast, show. So overall, it's been very exciting. I feel like we've done so much in a year, and we're really excited to see what happens next.
I think one of the great things about Character Animator is that, like you say, it's only been a year. Me and Anthony only really started using Character Animator on a professional level since the start of 2017, and yet the amount of changes that have gone through the software since then have been incredible. And it's not like you're slowing down. Every month, or it seems that you're bringing out updates, and I love the fact that you've got like on the Adobe site, you have a whole page set up for people to submit ideas for what they think should be added. New features should be added into the software, and then you got the whole voting system, and it's great. You really are working with the community to make the software work as best as possible.
And one of the things that I love and I look forward to every month is the tips and tricks videos. And
Yes.
one thing I do notice that all the comments, people feel the same, but you also take the time to actually you've taken on board what people are saying and asking, and you can see that going into the software, which is really good to see.
Yeah, I
Oh, no,
definitely
you've
am
been.
of the school. Yeah, I'm definitely of the school that the user is always right, and if 200 users are telling us you need X, Y, and Z in the app, who are we to say no? It's this, or this is what Adobe says, and this is what you have to do. I think it's a lot stronger when real world examples. Someone sends me their puppet or file, or I see the same problem happening over and over again, or the same question being asked over and over again. It's like, all right, guys, we got to fix this. Like this is, these are our priorities, and it's very clear. And I think the only way you can do that is to, is to just listen, and not feel like you always have the right answers. I feel like I have my own personal ideas of what I wish would change, and evolve, but I'm one person, and my workflow may be weird and not the same as other people's workflows. So it's kind of trying to do, you never be able to please everyone, but we hope to continue to just make it easier to use, clearer, more powerful, and of course more fun.
Do you find that there's
We've always.
sorry? Do you find that there's
You carry on, Ed.
is there a dedicated is there a core kind of users? Is there one specific area, or do you find that people are using it for all sorts of different little things?
That's been the biggest surprise, really, I think, is the wide gamut of things that people use it for. I think we went into it saying, oh, it'll be, 50-50 live recorded. And, I don't exactly know what those current numbers are actually off the top of my head, but what we see is just, it's all sorts of stuff. And it's, stand-up comics. It's people projecting things onto pumpkins. It's displays at conferences or amusement parks. It's broadcast length television shows. So animation itself, a wide gamut of possibilities of what you can do with it. And I think that's what we're seeing is character animators right there every step of the way, but also allowing for there's new opportunities. Of course, the live aspects like we're doing right now. That's something that's relatively new, and we're seeing some pretty innovative stuff there. So I would say overall, I'm just surprised every day. There's not a day goes by that I don't see something new that someone's created with Character Animator that I'm like, wow, that's really impressive.
And that's what like Anthony said a minute ago. Your tips and tricks. Not only do I look forward to seeing them, just for the advice that you offer out and showcasing something new that I hadn't even thought about doing. But I love just seeing what everyone's doing within the community. Like all the different shows that everybody's working on. It's one of the things I really do look forward to watching each month. And I think you got a massive following now for your channel, OK Samurai. A lot of people that feel the same.
Yeah, it's been really cool to see that. I mean, that was kind of, just when I first joined the team, I started putting those together because it seemed the best way to show off how to help people was by showing videos of here's how you fix the head from falling off, or here's how you keep the feet fixed in place. And it just kept evolving into something that I think more and more people, are looking forward to. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been a really fun part of my unexpected part of my job, which is cool.
I mean, I know you've helped us
Did
along
you?
the way. We badge you quite a lot with questions. It's like as soon as we come up with a stumbling block, it's like, Dave.
Absolutely badger you.
That's all right.
I'm assuming, when Character Animator first started, obviously it was a plugin to After Effects. Did anyone ever expect the software to, was this the way that the software is currently running, the way that it's become so popular? Was this the ultimate ambition, or has it just taken on a life of its own and, grown beyond your expectations?
Yeah, I think the general idea was it would always be a product that kind of stand on its own. I mean, I think we've talked about the origin story before, but basically we've seen the crazy things that people do in After Effects to do character animation, and it felt, really complicated, really difficult, very time consuming. And we were exploring this new performance capture technology and said, well, this might be a more fun and easy and accessible way to get into it. And so it started off as an experiment, but I think in the back of everyone's mind, they had the idea of, yeah, one day this could, this could be kind of the next wave of character animation. I don't think any of us, though, thought it would happen so fast. Like when the Simpsons thing happened, that was just crazy. That came out of nowhere. We were like, we're not ready for this yet, for a primetime show. And then sure enough, it worked, and they pulled it off, and it worked out great. So, we've gotten lucky in that respect that I think, people at the right place at right time used it. And since then, it's kind of been on a great upward trajectory. So, I personally have seen the use in it. I enjoy using it. And I think it definitely fits a really nice, part of Adobe, particularly when you're thinking of the relationship between it and Photoshop and Premiere and After Effects. It makes a lot of sense. It's a really nice story, and I think it serves a nice purpose for anyone who wants to do character-based animation. It's been fun to see it.
The software has totally transformed mine and Anthony's business, really. A year ago, we was doing animation, and we was doing a lot of cartoon branded marketing and whatnot. But since Character Animator's come out, we've pretty much completely based our entire business model on it, because there is just so much that we offer people with it. You got people like, you got your YouTubers, you got your Twitchers that are just wanting to be presenters online to make themselves stand out. But we also get loads of work off the back of advertising people and marketing people that want content. They want to be able to turn out great eye-catching content fast and also cheaper. In the past, it used to cost you a fortune to make an animation, because if you had an animation that ran for a couple of minutes, you're talking, it might have took a week, or depending on the complexity of it, it could have taken weeks or months. And if you're paying an animator or animators for that amount of time, you're talking thousands of pounds. Whereas with Character Animator, once you've, spent a couple of days building up a puppet and, embedding all the animations and whatnot, you can really create great content over and over again. So, it's been great for us, and we're really pleased that the software came out.
We've just had a question from Ninja Montastic, and the question is, how do you think live animation will change the way people will interact with cartoons of the future?
Oh, that's a good question. I can see it in two parts. Interact with cartoons being both the viewer and the creator. For the creator, I think it's only going to get better. I think the fidelity is going to get much better. You'll be able to take your movements, your full body, your moving of your head, and being able to translate that into. Yeah, and you'll be able to translate that into, not just quote unquote 3D stuff, but 2D stuff, and still look, really nice. Imagine if you could, take yourself and your performance and turn it into a Disney, quality animated character. I think there's there's a lot of really exciting potential there for that. And then I think from the viewer's side as well, I think we'll see a lot more interactive style cartoons, and I think you have to look no further than what you're seeing in video games right now. I see a lot of the interactive story stuff that like Telltale's doing, or David Cage games, or things like that. They're doing some amazing things, and it's not too hard to believe a future where cartoons have more of a interactive exploration, discovery element to them. And I think you could start to see the beginnings of where that might go. So I think with the tools becoming more and more accessible to people, more and more people will be able to share their stories and experiences. And that's what's really exciting. I think that's one of the coolest things I see about character animators. We see people who have exciting stories to tell about robots or dragons or zombies or cartoon characters, whatever. And they've been stuck in their head because they just haven't had the medium or ability to make those. And then they run into some like character animator, and all of a sudden the light bulb goes on. They're like, wait a second, I could actually do this. Like I could make a cartoon pilot and pitch it to Cartoon Network or something like that. And it's really exciting to see people that spark and see these people create these stories that would have otherwise not been told.
Me and Anthony's just done it ourselves. We've literally just sent off a I don't think we showed you actually. I don't know if we did or not, but we've just sent off a pitch to the BBC using just
Oh,
entirely
great.
using Character Animator, and they seem quite. We'll have to keep you updated on what happens with that, but it's just to back up what he's just saying about using in the past because we're so busy getting the time to make an animation that wasn't being paid for and as a side project. It was just we never got that time, but with Character Animator, I was able to put something together that looked great, but in a fraction of the time that it would have taken us normally.
I mean, the other thing
Right.
that's great is we get a lot of people contact us and say like like you say, I've got a great idea, got a story, but I don't have the artistic skills to put it together. So we can give them something that they can take away and actually make an animation with no animation skill and no drawing skills, but they can use that tool to tell their story, which which is brilliant. Really, I think it's going to encourage and inspire a lot of younger people to get into animation because it's such a long process. The traditional animation, it's very easy to be put off. Like once you get an idea and start down and doing it all, yeah, you can easily kind of give up on that. But this kind of cuts all that out.
Well, going back to the question that Ninja asked, I think another area that you'll see a lot of interaction with characters is AR, augmented reality, and virtual reality. I think you'll have a lot more situations where you'll have software using, things like these characters as the interface. Like you got things like Alexa and Siri. There's no reason why those softwares couldn't have a little cartoon character that embodies the information that it's giving to the people talking to it, and it just creates that personal. It's almost that whole futuristic thing where you've got like robots that you can interact with, and I can see that happening really soon.
We have another question from Ninja Mumtastic.
Oh yeah.
Basically, with the rise and popularity of gamer streamers with character animator avatars, is that affecting the focus of character animator at Adobe? And if so, in what way?
Great question. I would say the live aspect of things has been something that we've been so excited to see the explosion of, and particularly with the gaming community. I mean, I think Scribbly was the first one that I saw that was doing it, or at least that caught my eye coming through the streams. And since
Yeah.
then, now there's not a day goes by that I don't
Loads.
jump on Twitch or Mixer and see someone doing something, on there with Character Animator, and it's really cool to see that. So, I think it does inform us. I wouldn't say it's completely like upheld and said, we're done with traditional animation and recorded stuff. It's all live now. I think it's a balanced focus because I think we have people who do one or both, or that sort of thing. So we're trying to give tools. A lot of times when we think of features, actually, we're thinking what's going to work best for everybody. What's going to be the type of thing? So you think of the trigger system, for example. That's something that affects everyone. In the controls panel, that's something that both recorded and live can use together. So I think rather than just focus on one, we see the need and we see the improvements that certain features will make that could benefit everybody. And so that's, I think you'll see a lot more of that sort of stuff, is things that make I always kind of go it with a live first attitude, because if things look good live, then they're probably going to look pretty good for recordings as well. So I personally kind of take it that way. But it's there's a lot of there's a lot of people with a lot of different workflows with Character Animator, and we're trying to make the experience as good as possible for them. But yeah, I mean, the seeing the live streamer stuff, and particularly like some of this stuff you guys are doing, is just insane. It's so funny to see these characters, do all these funny things and have T-shirts every day, and bring out weapons or themes or costumes that are related to the game they're playing. It's really cool, and it immediately catches your attention. If I'm looking at the Twitch thumbnails, immediately I'm drawn to the cartoon raccoon wearing a top hat, right? Like that's going to be the thing that I click on, more so than not. So.
No, I agree with what you're saying, because in regards to live versus timeline editing, I would say when it comes to our own work, with our customers, it falls 50-50. You know, like it literally
Yeah.
is half the customers that come to us are like gamers and presenters, but at the same time, we have a lot of people, like I said, the marketing people that don't want to go live, they just want to use Character Animator so they can turn out content fast. So I would never say to you, I think one is more important than the other, and it's great that you know, give dual precedent to both of them. And, oh, I thought someone else posted a question. Then. Right, well, I'll go another question for you. Obviously, we're talking about all the things that have been going on in the last year and all these different people using it. And you just said yourself a moment ago how you're watching a lot of people online. So, out of all these different projects that you see going on in the community, what have been the ones that have really stood out for you? I'm not saying to you to pick your favourite or anything like that. Just when you think of projects that you've seen from the community over the last year, what are a couple of the ones that jump into your head first?
Yeah, from the past year, man, there's a lot. Uh, I think most recently, like I just saw this past month, this guy, I think his name is Joshua Cabaza, and he has stand up. He's a stand up comedian, and basically, instead of just doing the traditional thing of recording his set at a comedy club, a single camera, and doing a shot, and putting that on YouTube or whatever or social media, he also made claymation figures of himself, and he was talking about his son in the stand-up thing. And so he made his claymation figures of himself and his son and animated them with Character Animator and told the story on YouTube, intermixed with his live footage of these claymation characters coming up and talking. And immediately it's much more visually engaging than just a standard stand-up comedy thing that we've all seen in our social media feeds a million times. So I love seeing stuff like that. People taking tried and true mediums of, music, like that guy a couple months ago who did the Weezer music video using cartoons,
Oh yeah,
using Character Animator. I love seeing stuff like that. I love seeing people taking the kind of traditional tried and true stuff and trying to flip it on its head with with animation and with Character Animator. So that's kind of the stuff that immediately stands out. I mean, there are so many. It's really hard to. I don't know. There's Look Studios guys. Those two do some pretty good work too. So I was most recently impressed with their DuckTales character that they did. It looked true to the show. And I don't know, if I were an executive at Disney, I would definitely hire them. But that's just me.
I agree.
well, as you said, it's not just the community churning out these projects. You've been working on your own ones recently, haven't you? The robots. Can you explain to us a bit more? Because I see you working a whole bunch of robots. Are these characters you're making to make available to Character Animate? People come to Character Animate, or is this your own private project that you're working on?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. So Evan Flamethrower Robot Detective kind of started off as a project as a let's we call it eating our own dog food, right? Trying our own product and trying to make the thing that we think we can set out to make. And so for me, that was, can I make a long form cartoon with and my characters and my backgrounds and my friends and I our voices. So that's what I've been kind of working on for several months now, and it's basically an interactive detective story where there will be multiple suspects and you ask questions, and it's all done through Character Animator and brought into After Effects to do the cameras and scene changes and all of that stuff. But yeah, it's been a really fun process, and at the end of it, yeah, all the backgrounds, all the characters, all of that will be free for anyone to use. To learn from or take apart and do whatever they want to. So it's really a learning process, but then it's also given me a lot of great stuff to talk about. I got several months of tips, tutorial stuff, kind of walking through the whole workflow of exactly how I'm putting stuff together, and that seemed to really really help people out, kind of learning the basics. And as we're seeing here, putting stuff into After Effects, that just opens up a whole variety of stuff when you have multiple characters, talking together. It's cool. It's really fun to see it all come together and work out well. And along the way, I'm making a lot of notes about, oh wow, this is really painful. This takes a long time. This could be a lot easier.
Yeah.
And then there's other parts where it's like, this is magic, that this is just working so easily and quickly as it should. So yeah, I am still hard at work at it. Life and work also tends to get in the way sometimes. So, but it'll be done certainly by the end of the summer. So, definitely keep an eye out for it.
Have you been working? What? So has this been like a kind of private project for you, or have you been able to been given the time whilst at work at Adobe to actually work on it?
Here and there, but work, it depends if there's a lull or not. And right now it is not a lull, as we are, working on a bunch of new stuff and planning and working hard at work on new features. So right now, no, not as much. So it's really on my own free time. But that might change. And I also have a train commute sometimes in the morning and night. And so to work. And so a lot of times if it's, everyone's kind of gone home for the day or it's too early, a lot of times that's where I'll work on trying to get a few things done. And everyone looks at me, the train, weird, because I move my head back and forth, doing this motion capture stuff. But, it's all right. It's not a big deal.
When do you think, I know you can never predict these things, but if you could cross your fingers and hope that it worked out, when do you think you would have your first episode for it going? Roughly. End of year.
Yeah, I would
year.
say no. I think it'll be early August, if I'm being honest. I think, I think given the summer, given, I think I'll have some time to put the finishing touches on it. And honestly, it's almost done. It's one character left, one scene left, basically, that I'm working on, and that's just taken longer than expected. But yeah, it's fun, and yeah, there might be some secrets in there too. I come from the Super Mario school of hiding things in cartoons and invisible stuff and
Easter eggs.
that warp zones and stuff. Yeah, lots of that stuff. So if there's time, there will probably be at least a few secrets in there that should be fun for people to find out.
So once it's complete, will you be releasing the scenes for people to delve into?
Yeah, you said.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah. At very least, the puppets and the art assets, the actual scenes and the After Effects and Character Animator scenes. Those could be pretty large files.
Yeah.
So I'll have to kind of see what the bandwidth's looking like there. But at the very least, I think you'll have the puppets and assets. But if enough people ask for the scenes, I'll probably find a way to put those up as well.
Well, as you said, with Character Animator, it's not a hobby tool anymore. Professionals are using it to create high-grade animations. So have you actually had any of the big animation studios get in touch with you to inquire? I know you said about The Simpsons used it a few years ago, and they did some, they really kicked it off in a great big way. But since then, has any other... Because I don't see any reason why, look at Family Guy. A lot of the times in Family Guy, most of the animation in that is just the character stood in a pose talking, and then occasionally you have more detailed sequences. But you could get a good 60% of them shows done in Character Animator. So has anyone actually ever, gotten in touch about doing that?
Yeah, I would say Adobe has a great relationship with a bunch of studios because of After Effects and Premiere and Audition and Photoshop and all of those. There's not a studio out there that doesn't touch Adobe products in some way, right? So we have a good long-standing relationship with a lot of different studios. And because of that, that's allowed us to get our foot in the door with some of these places to talk to them about things and show them Character Animator. I think... I think we're, as the product continues to improve and you see additional, more and more features, I think it'll just get more and more enticing for these types of studios to, be able to use it. And I think you have to look no further than what, our cartoon president is doing, improving that it's working really well for their workflow, and they're able to churn out things on a timely basis and still look great and be funny and, it's a really great job those guys are doing. So, but the main guy, Tim, over there, he he found Character Animator just kind of, online through, various systems and tried it out and kind of had the, he took the initiative to initially do it. That wasn't us going out and shopping it around or anything. So I think that kind of organic stuff happens too. I think we just try to make the best product we can, and we'll put it out there. When we go to these studios, we always say, like, we're not trying to sell you anything. You already have the, if you're already buying Adobe, you already have this essentially. Yeah. So it's not like we're trying to get more money out of you or anything. It's more it's more, this is another tool in your animation toolbox that maybe something worth checking out. And it for broadcast shows or for continually social media stuff or live streaming stuff, there's continually more and more things that animators are being asked to do, and this is this might be a solution to some of those problems.
Well, we've
seen a few already. We've seen My Little Pony, the new Romeo and Juliet. They've all been doing like live audience interaction things on Facebook.
Apparently, a lot of the big studios now are looking more for short form animations for YouTube and Twitter and things like that as well, and Instagram. So I do think it is something that's going to be big in the future. And I have noticed that there seems to be more and more people using Character Animator now. And I think it's just a snowball effect. Once people try it and start using it, then they're going to use it more and more, just exactly like what we did.
Yeah, I think, well, me and Anthony are going to start hitting the old networking circuit here in the UK and proper spread the word, convert everyone, let everyone know that this is a great software that can be used at the highest level.
Nice.
Well, in regards to the software, obviously there's a lot of great things already being implemented into it, but I know that you're always working on new things and new stuff and new features. So is there anything, can you give us any tidbits, any heads up on what we can expect in the next release, or, in the near future?
Yeah, how much money you got? $20 per feature. I'll tell you everything you want to know. No, I'm just kidding.
Got the money.
No. There is a ton of stuff we're working on behind the scenes. I think whenever our next release is, which there's no, as usual, we never say dates or when they're coming out. Traditionally we, show things at certain trade shows and conferences. So, you'll have an advance notice of, when new news is coming out, and as always, the second that something is available, I post a gazillion videos on YouTube about the new features. So, but basically, we're working on a lot of really cool stuff. I think one of the most exciting things is that Project Puppetron that I snuck at that was at Max Sneaks last year, the Adobe Max conference, and then also I showed it at the NAB show in the spring. And this is just, this is awesome, because what we're seeing is this is getting people in the door in a way that we haven't before been able to do, because a lot of people come into Character Animator, they might try a puppet or two and then say, you know what, I can't draw, or I can't, I can't make, it's going to take too long for me to make an animated custom character. And with Puppetron, they just use their face. They go through this capture process and then they choose a style, and immediately they have something unique and cool, and something that gets their custom personality across, but has something that looks animated and special to it, and all within the span of just a couple of minutes. And so what we're hoping is that that's going to really get people in the door and open up a new kind of avenue of animation. And then if they get interested enough and say, well, how can I customize this more and add a, triggered animation, or add X, Y, or Z, or head turns or whatever. And then, then they'll dig into Character Animator a little more to find out, how everything is being put together. But the effects you get, like this painting look up here, that's a really cool look. And that would have taken me forever to try to do in, Photoshop and get it all working together. But with Puppetron, it's really easy. And, that's honestly, that's been taking a lot of my time recently, is testing that with users, getting, I grab people around our office and say, hey, come here and take pictures of your face for a few minutes and, try some things. And, early on, there's, all sorts of weird, crazy things that people make when things aren't working right, and half their face is missing or that sort of thing. But it's in a really solid, good spot right now, and I think if we continue down this path, we'll see that hopefully included as part of Character Animator in an upcoming release. So to me, that's the thing I'm probably most excited about. But there's a ton of things I wish I could talk about. I was using something today that is so cool. It's going to be a game changer, but I'm not allowed to talk about it, or someone will come and find me. So
Scott, give him 20 quid.
Can you tell us after the show?
Yeah, sure.
Well, I mean, regarding Project Puppetron, we actually done a talk not too long ago with a bunch of kids. It was ranging between the ages of like 8 and 11, and this would have been perfect for them. They were all keen to get into Character Animator, and this would have been a really great way for them just to get on it straight away and start playing around with the puppets.
I'll tell you what those kids ended up doing. What's the name of that emoji software that people use on Facebook? Is it My Emoji or... well, basically, on Character Animator, you got like your template face. Well, they was using the emoji generator to create a likeness of themselves, and then they was basically just putting the template eyes and the mouth over that to create their own custom puppets.
Interesting.
Well, if you could, now I'm not asking you about what Adobe are making, what a Character Animator is making at the moment, and you can be as wild as you want with this. You can go like proper futuristic. But if you could like click your fingers and implement any fantastic, far-fetched new feature into Character Animator, what would you like to, make magically appear in the features board on Character Animator?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, there's a ton. I think from a UI designer perspective, I would love to see things get even easier and cleaner. So I think of something like our timeline, for example. And when you record stuff, you get a whole bunch of takes down there, and it can get really, really crowded. I wish, my immediate thought is, how can we make that experience cleaner and nicer for people so they don't have 20 tracks, or plus tracks of things that they're dealing with? And I think there's some really nice things that we could do there. Some relatively simple things we could do that might
folders.
Make that. What's that?
What you mean, like
folders?
Be able to drop them in folders into the timeline, or them different takes.
Oh, possibly. Yeah. I guess I'm really just talking about the verticality of the timeline. The timeline is really huge when you do a bunch of different takes. And I think there's some smart things we could do that we could look at, audio programs and other things to do a better job of all of that. The second thing I would say, though, I think, I've really enjoyed when people have explored dimensionality in 2D. So not quite 3D, but exploring the ability to, take 2D artwork and give it a 2.5D look. And being able to do that without needing to know 3D tools. Because I've tried 3D tools before. I've tried, I remember in college doing 3D Studio Max, exploding boxes and, the usual tutorials that everyone goes through at a, shiny reflective matte surface on it. But, those are very, very complicated programs. And if I took this character, I don't want him to be a full 3D. I don't want to learn 3D modeling just to make him look 3D. But if I can draw artwork or draw different poses or draw the different parts or whatever it takes and get that dimensionality to the character, that would be so cool. And I don't know exactly how you would do that. I've seen, some ideas here and there, but anything that adds a little bit of dimensionality, I think will add some extra life to characters. And again, that's one of those features that benefits both live and recorded stuff. So personally, that's something I would hope to see in the future.
There are, I think...
And
was it
you had an idea about,
I'm going to say that, but was it The Lion King 2 that was made in 2.5D? That was all... That
it was
really nice. I'm not sure how they did it or how they went about it. It might have even been done in...
Oh, no, it was the way they did it is very similar to Character Animator, really. Basically, all they did was within the puppet, they embedded all the different, perspectives. So, for, basically, the whole character from a 360 point of view, all them different perspectives was buried into the puppet. The same way if we wanted to make our heads now turn to the left or right, or even turn all the way around, you bury them animations into a trigger. So it'd actually be, at the moment you have to do it all yourself. But it's certainly possible to do a really complex 2.5 puppet in Character Animator already.
Yeah, like I say,
Right.
one thing that I'd like to see, maybe in the future, which would be great, is a kind of inbuilt broadcasting software. At the moment, when it comes to live broadcasting, you either have to use, you got Ycast, Remix, and all them, which are great, but it'd be nice just to have it all in one place, so you can just press a button, it streams, and you can bring in your backdrops and do all that type of thing. Personally, I'd quite like to see that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to see, I've mentioned it before, even if you charge like £100 or something, but a one-off kind of like app player. So if we built a puppet for a customer, and we said, right, you've also got to buy this app thing that'll run the character. And I think you get a bunch of people that don't even use Adobe and might never use any of the Adobe software. So it'd be like an extra revenue coming in where they'll buy the app player just to run the puppet that they're using for their project.
Yeah, that's another one we've heard a lot is kind of a stream only, play only mode version. Yeah, that would be really cool to see.
Oh, and a quick question. I've been meaning to ask throughout this talk for the last half hour. I keep meaning to ask you this. In regards to my president, has your president actually ever tweeted anything about the show? Because he seems quite, hot on Twitter.
Yes, he is. Not to my knowledge. I know he's talked about Stephen Colbert specifically, where kind of the sketch originated. But I don't know specifically if he's talked about the show or not. But I see little tidbits of the show being passed around on Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that. Little funny scenes of his his kids or some of the other funny characters, his cabinet. There's just this administration has quite a lot of colorful characters. Let's say, and so it's really funny to see how they've them in some interesting situations that the show has put them in. So no, to my knowledge, he has not tweeted specifically about OCP or Character Animator, but hey, they've got a bunch of new episodes they're working on right now, so they're time might tell differently.
We've got from Digital Muppets saying hi on the chat.
Hey, hello. His videos are great. I love like all the, is it like the wizard? I love his the style of like his character design. I love the detail in the faces. They're great. So thanks for joining us and watching the show.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, we've been keeping you now for almost an hour. So anyone who is watching, if you've got a question for Dave, now is your time to, otherwise you're going to lose the opportunity. So right, we'll give you a minute to post any questions that you might have, and then after that, if no one's asked anything, we'll let Dave go. We should have some music playing or something. Well done. Oh.
And you got to think your question now, because I'm really hard, I never respond to any comments or questions or anything online. So it's it's
yeah, true.
This is your chance. This is it.
He's never responded to any questions again.
Aaron said, I think I bugged Dave enough on Twitter. He's tired of my question. To be fair, we all bug Dave. me and Ad, we don't bug him on Twitter. We bug him on LinkedIn. So he's getting annoyed from all over the place.
Yeah, that is the funny thing, is that I people contact me in a lot of different parts of the web, and it's funny. Like every day I've got my morning routine of, all right, I'm going to check these 10 places and see what's going on. But no, it's fine. It's fine.
Right. Well, like I say, you need your rest. You're literally inundated with questions from the whole community 24/7. So I'd like to say thank you very much for joining us once again for the second time in the cartoon studio. It's great to have you here, and it's great for you to come on and answer all our questions and give us an update on how the software is doing and what the future might hold. So that's it. Thanks for joining us, and we'll let you go.
All right, thanks guys so much for having me, and good luck with the BBC thing and all the other cool projects you guys are working on. It was a pleasure to be here, and can't wait to see what you guys make next.
And don't worry, we'll be in touch
Thank
with
you
lots
very
of
much.
questions soon. So,
Sounds good.
all right then, let's.
Okie dokie. Right, we'll see you later then.
See you later
All
on.
right, bye.
You know what? We're totally rubbish at this part. This is the worst part of the show when we're saying goodbye to people. It always seems awkward. We need some kind of music, walking out music, to maybe make a door appear or something. Do 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 do. Go on, make him disappear, Ant, while we got do 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 do.
Okay.
And
Okay.
there he is. He's gone. Well, that was great. Always brilliant. Always learn. Dave really is at the forefront of what Character Animator is all about. And, I always look forward to watching his monthly tips and tricks show. And like I said, not just to get the advice from Dave himself, but seeing what everyone else, people like Digital Muppets and loads, it's every month there's more and more people creating great stuff with the software, and it doesn't surprise me. I expect to see a lot more studios working with the. I expect to see it getting a lot more mainstream and commonplace as the months roll on. I thought you might say something there once.
No. I think you've said enough. All right, I think we need to wrap it up now. Like I say, thanks to Dave for coming on the show. Like I say, he literally must be just answering questions all the time, because I know we bombard him with questions, and you see from even on the tips and tricks videos, all the that he actually comments and replies back to everyone as well. So, like I say, thanks Dave, and thanks to everyone watching the show. And we will be saying good night, and hopefully we'll get the shows back up and running on a weekly basis again soon.
Yeah, if anyone is just joining us for the first time this year, last year we ran the show, like pretty much every week, every Tuesday we was here. But after Christmas, we had so many big, massive projects come on that waylaid us. But we definitely are going to start up with the interviews again, and a lot more tutorial videos of our own. We started one the other week where Anthony.
Yeah, we've got part 2 of the how to make a 3D puppet in Character Animator as well, so that will be
and after that I'm going to do a video on how I'll create some of our cycle layers, especially our mouth lip syncs and blinks and all that sort of stuff. So yep, we got a lot planned. So keep watching, subscribe and all that usual stuff that people on YouTube usually say. You don't need to hear us say it again. So thank you very much, and play us the outro music.
Okay.
We got any outro music? Da 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 dum, da 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 dum.
Bye.
Are we still alive?